What was your first bike? I mean,
Yeah, that was the Honda VTX.
okay.
It was used. That bike was fast, but it didn't have saddlebags. It didn't have a tour pack, and so trying to travel on that thing was a nightmare. As I was riding with some friends to Milwaukee on that Honda, and that was just a horrible experience. I actually sold, or I traded that bike in while I was in Milwaukee, and that's when I bought my first Harley, because it was so awful.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah, was it more like I don't know what that bike is because, like I said, I've only been riding for 3 years. It's like a sports, like, crotch rocket
it's
or
no. The
uh
VTX, it's kind of like a Road King, or
Oh, okay.
I think an Indian is what, the Springfield, the one
Yeah,
without a
Springfield.
fairing.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's kind of like that. It's that style of bike,
Oh, yeah, I got
except it didn't have saddlebags. So no saddlebags, no
hmm,
no storage at all.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I guess you would get a luggage rack, I guess, in the back and, try to do it that way. So what you did?
yep, yeah. I
Yeah.
strapped a backpack to the back of it as best I
Mhm.
could, but it was just a horrible experience. It didn't have cruise control. Obviously, no sound system. It was just horribly uncomfortable.
And how long was this trip?
Memphis to Milwaukee is about 600 miles, 650 miles,
Okay.
something like that.
It was like 5 hours maybe? Or
Oh,
is it
no.
or 6 hours or 8?
It's about 9, I think.
9!
It's
Oh
about a
my
9 hour
gosh,
ride.
it
Yeah.
had to be rough.
Yeah, it's about a 9 hour ride. And, so when you're twisting the throttle, because again, it didn't have cruise control.
Oh,
So
yeah.
to maintain speed, you got to hold the throttle. And
Wow.
imagine doing that for 9 hours.
Mm.
Oh, oh, what a nightmare.
So did you
An
get your,
absolute
new
nightmare.
Harley at, Milwaukee?
I did.
Or
Yep. Yep.
because I ain't going back with this thing.
It's like, yeah, I ain't going back on that bike. That's not going to work.
Hey, Josh, welcome to the podcast, and you are working tonight. Josh was, gonna try to make it here tonight, but, he got his car stuck in the snow, and
Uh-oh.
now he has to work tonight because he didn't show up this morning.
Oh, good.
Oh, poor baby. Anyway, so so what was the first, Harley did you get?
I bought a 2018 Harley-Davidson Road Glide, and I still have that bike. That bike has 102,000 miles on it now.
Wow.
Now, it was 1 year old when I bought it, so I bought that in 2019. So,
Jeez. Wow. I tell you what is, and I think I know what you got now, right? You got the primo
well, I've got three
Harley
bikes now.
Davidson.
I still have my 2018 Road Glide. 100,000 miles. That bike isn't worth much, so I'm going to keep it. But it's
Mhm.
actually a really comfortable bike to ride. I still love that bike.
Yeah.
I have a 2023 Harley CVO Road Glide,
Mhm.
and my Road King, I think it's a 23 or a 24, and 23 or 24 Road King. And that's the
Wow.
bike that, um, before we started, you mentioned the last video I did where I fell off my bike. That was on the Road King.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Well, speaking of that video, so you wanna explain a little bit of that? What happened there?
sure, sure.
Because people need to learn.
Well, the synopsis of that video is I set up a pattern with
Mhm.
cones. The pattern is called, I think, Cajun Craze, and it looked doable when I was looking at it on paper. And so I'm like, okay, this should be fun. I set it
Mhm.
up, and I jumped in there and doing a couple of turns, and my front tire ran over a cone. And I have some relatively inexpensive cones. It was a little cold out, and the cone started sliding from underneath my front tire,
Mhm.
and the bike went down. I put my foot down, which caused me to fall off the bike, and I got really lucky that my foot didn't get trapped under the saddlebag. But
Yeah.
I ended up scraping my arm and my knee, and banged up my thumb a little bit.
Yeah. I'm glad
But
you're okay, but,
oh, me too. That was Christmas
yeah.
Eve.
Yeah, Christmas Eve.
And the bad part is I was out there by myself, and after that fall, I sat in the ground and thinking about it. I'm like, man, it's Christmas Eve. I'm out here by myself. I'm not hurt, but if I just broken my leg, I don't know what I would have done.
Mhm. Yeah.
Because my phone was on the tripod recording. You know, I'd
Yeah.
have been screwed. I'd have been sitting on the ground here waiting for somebody to come look for me because my wife didn't know where I was. I just threw some stuff in the car and went and practiced. It
Joe
was a
says
bad
you're
idea.
very good at falling.
I am an expert at falling.
He said, He said, in fact, asked him about getting his bike off of the trailer at Daytona.
Yes, yes.
Mm.
Joe and I went to Daytona a couple of years ago, and my foot was hurt, and Joe was going to load my bike on my trailer for me.
Mm.
Joe dropped my bike loading it on
Ooh.
the trailer.
Mm. So
My
it's
beloved
Joe's fault.
2018 Road Glide. Yes, it is. It was Joe's fault. He
Mm.
dropped my bike. So if anybody's listening, and if you ask Joe to load your bike on a trailer, he's going to drop it. I'm just saying.
Oh my
Gotcha.
gosh.
No, the
Joe
story he
is the
wanted me to
menace.
tell you is that. So the reason I had to ask Joe to load my bike for me, when I got there, I got my bike off the trailer. I was doing a U-turn. I fell.
Mm.
Once again, I put my foot down, except this time the floorboard clipped the side of my foot. Oh, I thought I broke my foot that day.
Ooh.
It was just sprayed really bad. Um, but it was a miserable, miserable weekend in Daytona because my foot was
Wow.
hurting so bad.
I almost did the same thing on a 2023 Road Glide. It was the newer version,
Okay.
and I have size 14 feet. I don't know what size yours is. And I did a test ride, and I said, "Hey, let me ride, in the parking lot first. I want to see
Hmm.
what it's like." So I went around the mall parking lot because all the malls are closed these days. So I had all the room in the world.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So I was doing some figure eights. I was going around the corner, and then he was stopped. The guy that was going to be riding with
Mhm.
me. So I go towards him, and I'm stopping, and my foot gets caught underneath the shifter.
Oof.
So, and that's the side, you naturally you're going to go down because that's where your kickstand and everything is. And I couldn't get it out, and finally I got it out, and the guy's looking at me, and the bike is maybe 8 inches off the ground. I mean, literally, just almost ready to go. I mean, it's gonna get. Oh my gosh! And I said, "Not today, man. I'm not buying a bike today." So I one-handed it, and now, I mean, lifted that thing up, and I don't. It's like when you see somebody, ran over somebody or something like that. These stories that you hear that they lift a car up and stuff like that. I did
Right.
that with that bike, and the guy says, "I have never seen that before." I said, "Yeah, but you could have been helping me." I mean, it wasn't like a split second. It was slowly going down.
Yeah. Well, I'll
Oh my
tell you,
gosh.
the lesson learned from me from my two
Mm,
drops is keep your feet on the floorboard. If I had
yeah,
kept my foot on the floorboard in both of those instances,
yeah,
I would have been fine.
yeah.
And in Daytona in particular, if I had kept my foot on the floorboard, Joe would not have had an opportunity to drop my bike.
Mm,
So
yeah.
Joe said, no, no, no. Wrong story, buddy.
Oh my gosh.
How
Oh,
did you get that hurt foot?
Joe, we'll invite you on. We'll give you a phone number here. You can, confront him.
Stevie Kirkland said selective memory.
Selective memory.
oh
I wonder if
no,
you
no,
guys
that's
know
exactly what happened. This is a true story.
they might actually know the true